Wars are often remembered for their length, the devastation they cause, and the sheer drama that unfolds over years, sometimes even decades. But what if I told you there was a war so short you might have missed it if you blinked? A war that lasted, wait for it, just 38 minutes. Yep, you heard that right. But what could possibly cause a war to end in less than an hour? Who were the players in this bizarre historical event? And what was the outcome? Get ready, because we're diving deep into the story of the shortest war in history. The year is 1896 and the place? The tropical paradise of Zanzibar, off the coast of East Africa. Now Zanzibar wasn't always known for its beaches and spices. Back in the day, it was a strategic island with a rich history of trade, and yes, a little bit of political drama. Zanzibar was under British influence, but it had its own Sultan, Hamad bin Thuwaini, who was friendly with the British. Everything seemed to be going smoothly, until, well, it didn't. On August 25, 1896, Sultan Hamad suddenly died under mysterious circumstances. And here's where things start getting interesting. The British were hoping for a smooth transition of power, but instead, they got a whole lot of trouble. Enter Khalid bin Barghash, the cousin of the late Sultan. He had his eyes on the throne, and the moment Hamad was gone, Khalid marched into the palace, declared himself the new Sultan, and fortified his position. A bold move, but there was just one tiny problem. The British didn't approve. Now, you might be thinking, what's the big deal? It's just another power struggle, right? But here's the twist. The British were not the type to sit back and watch someone they didn't like take power. They demanded that Khalid step down immediately, or else. Khalid, thinking he could handle the British Empire, decided to dig in his heels. He barricaded himself inside the palace with around 3,000 of his loyal men and raised the Sultan's flag. He was ready for a fight, but was he really? The next morning, on August 27, 1896, the British had had enough. They issued an ultimatum. Khalid had until 9 a.m. to surrender. When the clock struck 9:02 a.m., the British warships opened fire on the palace. The bombardment was so intense that within minutes the palace was in ruins. And just like that, by 9:40 a.m., the war was over. The palace was destroyed, Khalid had fled, and the British had won. The entire conflict lasted just 38 minutes. Can you believe it? So, what happened to Khalid? Well, after his hasty escape, he sought asylum at the German consulate. The British demanded his surrender, but he managed to slip away to German East Africa, where he lived in exile until he was eventually captured in 1916. But why did the war end so quickly? It wasn't just because of the British firepower, although that played a huge role. It was also because Khalid's forces were completely outmatched. They had outdated weapons and minimal training, while the British had modern naval artillery. Khalid never really stood a chance. So the shortest war in history wasn't really much of a war at all. It was more like a very brief, very one-sided skirmish, but hey, it still counts as a war, right? And there you have it, the shortest war in history, a mere 38 minutes of action that ended in a decisive British victory. It's a fascinating story of ambition, power, and a bit of hubris on Khalid's part, but it's also a reminder that not every war needs years to make an impact on history. So next time you're in Zanzibar, soaking up the sun and enjoying the spice markets, just remember, this paradise was once the site of a war that ended almost as soon as it began. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more fun and fascinating history stories. Oh, and one last thing, if you thought 38 minutes was fast, wait until you hear about the battle that lasted only 6 hours. But that's a story for another time. See you in the next video.